Hey there everyone, welcome to another video. The following is 100 creepy stories from X, so get comfy and enjoy the video. 1. On Skype camming with girlfriend. She falls asleep, snuggled into her blanket, can only see one of her eyelids closed. She has to wake up in a few hours, might as well wait. Hear her snore for hours. Get up to get drink. Come back. Her eye wide the fuck open in a creepy fashion. Still hear her snoring. Realize her cam is frozen. Wakes up later and says she never woke up in the middle of the night. 2. This one's from the perspective of a girl. B11. Have sleepover with best friend. We're looking through my photo album, talking about parents we don't have. She is a single mom. I have a single dad. Room gets cold. We put on our jammies, slippers, and bathrobes. Resume previous discussion. She stops to ask me if I can put away my new stuffed cat that I have on my bed. She says it's creeping her out big time. I say no problem. I hate it anyway. Best place I can think to put it is in my broken closet. I stuff the cat plush into a corner behind some boxes facing the wall. To close the closet, I have to literally pick up the door and place it over the closet doorway. We go about our business. Less than 10 minutes go by. Hear a crash in the closet like boxes in the corner all fell over. Move the door. Hear best friend gasp in horror with big, "Oh my God." Set door down and step back to look. Nothing has fallen. The cat plush is in the middle of the doorway on the floor looking up at us. Both of us say, "Oh hell no." I stop. Don't want to be in trouble waking up Dad. I take cat plush, wrap it in my clothes, stuff it in the dresser drawer. Fuck you, cat. No more problems after that. I actually tried to destroy it later on. That was just because I was so afraid of it. It would change positions in my room when I wasn't looking, turn to face me when it hadn't been, etc. I threw it away one day, and when I got home from school, it was right back on my bed, looking at the door for when I would walk through it. I refused to have something like that happen again, so I took scissors to it and asked my friends to help me throw the pieces away in different trash bags. 3. During high school, doing homework in room. Window views out into the street and driveway. Parents tell me they're going to visit my grandma. I say okay and watch them leave through my window. Later, my dad walks up the driveway alone, out of my view to the back of the house. I think nothing of it, probably forgot something or some such. I don't hear him enter the house or leave it again. Still later, Mom and Dad come back and walk up the driveway. So convinced I saw my dad earlier, I audibly said what the fuck, even noticed that he had a different color shirt on than when I saw him alone. He never went indoors, so changing his shirt wasn't an option. 4. About to go to sleep. Set alarm clock. I get in bed and try to fall asleep. After a few minutes, I hear scratching on the door. Thinking it might be the dog, but I don't see it. I don't hear any footsteps or any barking. I can't think of what else it could be. I try to forget about it and sleep. I feel something slightly tugging at my shirt. Think there's a presence behind me. I try to tell myself it's nothing and sleep. Eventually I fall asleep. In the morning I wake up, but the alarm clock didn't work, which has never happened before. I realize I'd overslept. 5. End of my term at university. Nothing to do but read all the books I put off this year. I sit in the stacks basement of the library. That's where all the old books are kept. I get lost in book. Occasionally hear arrivals and people leaving. I can hear them and count how many there are. Everyone leaves. Around the corner from me I hear a chair scraping. Oh God, what is that? When I check it, nobody's there. All around me is darkness. The lights are motion censored. I nope the fuck back into my book. 6. This happened today, actually. In shower like every morning. Feel something grab my leg. I nope. See shadows move about the room. So scared to the point I can't move. I nope again. I ran back to my room. I feel a presence nearly every night now, and I see figures. Someone send help, please. 7. Driving up near a place called Winter Hills. Nothing up there other than occasional country roads and posh houses. Driving up there at about 2 in the morning, so it's pitch black, no streetlights. I see headlights behind us in the car. Me and my 2 other friends are there. Notice it was a van, a bit surprised that another car is driving up here too, mainly because it's in the middle of nowhere, and we only drive up there when bored. The van's gaining on us pretty fast. Slight hill in the road, drive up and then over and back down. Fully expect to see the van's headlights again. Not a single thing, other than pitch black. The exact stretch of the road that we were on had a massive fall on the left-hand side. We pull up at a pub after driving to a T-junction, and we waited for 10 minutes. Nothing. It happened more than once. Same van. That was the first time. Freaked us out quite a bit. 8. Staying in cabin in the woods with some friends. Having a pretty good time. Find a cassette player with weird-ass looking book called in Latin. Open book. Hear weird screaming. Well, fuck. 9. B12. Taking shower at grandparents' house. About done. Turn towards door. Has words die written out in it, clear as shit. Freak out and get out as fast as possible. 10. A few years back, walking through Bachelor's Grove. That's a cemetery in Chicagoland. Go up to one of the old graves. Friends are in different parts of the place. I read the name off to myself. A voice whispers, "What?" into my ear. 11. I was taking a walk, heading back home. I see an old man on the yard of an abandoned house. He was standing, except perfectly still. I was young, still had good eyesight. I waited there. Still no movement. I don't know, not really creepy, but it was definitely strange that he did not move at all. The weird fact is, the house was on the same street as a cemetery, which was only a 5-minute walking distance away. 12. B13. On a phone with best friend. I supposedly fall asleep. Next morning get a call from friend. Friend tells me I started to say, "Lights are coming." Something about an apple, and I said something in binary. Proves it. She called up another trustworthy friend, recorded it, and wrote down numbers. Binary translates into, "Soon we will be one." 13. B9. Forced to go to bed by parents. Laying in bed, eyes wide open. See something move in the corner of my eye. Look up to the ceiling, and the ornamental bird in the corner begins to spin rapidly. Raise the covers up to my eyes and pretend to sleep, scared like a little bitch. I hear something drop to the floor suddenly. I scream for my mom loud as fuck. Mom comes in and sees the bird crushed to pieces on the ground, and I get grounded. Fucking ghosts. I've gotten into trouble in these strange ways on several occasions as a kid. 14. B18. Work as a nighttime janitor. Bring my carry around an L-shaped hallway. See a dark figure at other end of the hall. It mumbles something incoherent. Oh, it's just Dave or Francisco. Only other 2 guys in there at night. Get to the other side. See them both talking. I proceed to shit myself. 15. 12 years old, on holiday with a cousin. Used to record a lot of videos on a Video 8 camcorder. Fast forward 10 years to the present. Remember recording some really random stuff, like half-assed stop-motion videos and shit. Track down the tapes. Start checking them for nostalgia. There's a good piece of tape overwritten by something. Looks like Digital 8 played on some older camcorder. Take old Digital 8 I had lying around and play the tape. About 10 minutes of night shot of me having spasms on my bed. No sound at all. Nobody in the family owned a digital light camera at that age. 16. B15. Spending the night at my great-aunt's giant old house. Every family member says it's haunted. My mom says she has demonic experiences there, but refuses to talk about it. Staying up watching Netflix in bedroom till midnight. Cousin and little brother are fast asleep on the floor. I really have to pee. The moment I fucking start to get up, it sounds like all the shit in the bathroom is being moved around, shampoo bottles shuffling and such. Nope, never mind. Get back in my bed and stay up all night watching Netflix, while desperately trying not to piss myself out of utter fear and limited capacity of my bladder. Finally the sun rises, and I muster up enough courage to waddle into the bathroom. That was the longest and scariest piss I've ever taken to this day. 17. Couple of months ago at friend's house, 3 a.m., everyone except us asleep. The lamp near the computer, which is where I was sitting at, is the only light on the house. My friend goes to the bathroom. A couple of minutes later, I see a shadowy figure walk up to me from the direction of the bathroom. I even felt that slight little gust of air you get when someone walks by. I assume it's my friend. I say, "Hey," no reply. Shadowy figure walks up to stand behind me. Say, "Hey" again. No reply. Say, "Fine." Continue browsing, assuming friend is being a douche standing behind me in silence. At that very moment, hear my friend yell, "Huh?" from the bathroom as they turn the tap on. I freeze. Who the fuck is behind me? Friend walks in and I turn around. There was nothing there. Who was the shadowy figure? I told her all about it, and we both got a bit freaked out, but in the end we were more curious than scared. 18. I remember one time that me and my friends were walking around my suburban town. We were just being thugs, when all of a sudden we see our really old friend that no one has seen for a while. Basically, we just chatted all night, caught up in shit. I told him to call me the next day and so on. He never called, so I tracked down his number like Magnum PI, really just Facebook, and then I called him. He acted very surprised when he found out it was me, and he said he hadn't heard from me in years. I told him about the night before, and he says that it's happened to other old friends of his. Needless to say, I was pretty spooked after that. 19. In my house I have a long hallway, and in it there are photos and paintings. In one photo, I always see a reflection of a man standing on the other side of the hall. It doesn't scare me, but at the start of the hall, there's the kitchen, and I always see a reflection of a man sitting at the counter. I don't know, it's not scary at all, but it gives me the chills. 20. At high school on a retreat I attended at Catholic school, and we were staying at an old priest's home. We're sleeping in a bunkhouse. However, the bunkhouse burnt down, killing 7 priests back in the 50s. The priest running the retreat told us so. The wing I was in had 5 of the 7 priests who were trapped and burned alive. I awake to a light shining in my eyes. Then the light took the shape of a man. It was one of the priests, I think. I looked at a plaque when we were told about it. Standing with his arm out, looking up, he was surrounded by a bright yellow light. Then he just disappeared. I thought it could have been a teacher shining a torch in my eyes, but none were awake, and I would have seen them, so I thought I dreamt it. In the morning I checked the plaque once again, and the man I saw last night was right there in the plaque. 21. Before, be at grandparents' huge 3-story house. Be alone at house with just my grandmother. Be in lounge next to staircase playing. Uncle arrives. Grandma goes outside and leaves me alone. I see someone at the top of the staircase. Think it's my uncle and walk up. Shadowy figure goes into the bathroom. I go into the bathroom. The bathroom door shuts behind me. I begin laughing. Uncle, stop playing tricks. He replies, okay, and opens the door. Nobody's there. I go outside. Uncle is standing beside the car talking to my grandmother. Yeah, that one really scared me. 22. B7. Staying at holiday house near the beach with my family. Wake up in the middle of the night. The door from the room is being shaken rapidly. It was like someone was furiously trying to get in. The door isn't locked. Think it's my brothers trying to scare me. Walk out with a beating stick. Nothing there. Nothing else paranormal happened the whole time we stayed. 23. B13. On a grade school trip overnight field trip. About 9 p.m., just after dark, sunlight still almost visible. We're staying at a different grade school in a different town. Me, my best friend, and 2 of our girl classmates are hanging out after the dinner party playing the piano and chilling. One girl starts saying that she needs to go to the bathroom, but she's afraid to go alone, so the other girl goes with her. Me and my friend are chilling when we see 2 people come back. 2 boys, a bit older than us, come from a different door and stand in the doorway. Look a little bit older than us, maybe a year or 2. They're in overalls and jeans and t-shirts. They look surprised and ask us if they can come in. We think they're locals, so we say sure, since we're stupid kids. Girls come back and see the 2 boys. The boys walk into the room and straight to the stage. Curious, I follow with my best friend. We see them go into the hallway with a single door. Hear nothing. Look around. They're gone. The door is bolted from the outside. 24. B12. Sleeping in waterbed with cat. Unwise. Cat under blankets with me snoozing. Hear a thump in the hallway. Listen a bit, slightly curious. Faintly hear a hoarse, shallow, rhythmic breathing. It gets closer and closer. It moves to the head of my bed. I shut my eyes and pretend to sleep. Thing must be the height of my bed. I can tell the cat isn't sleeping anymore. She's all tensed under the blanket. Hear the thing go to the foot of the bed, to the other side, to the head of the other side of the bed. Keep pretending to sleep. It circles the bed like this 3 more times. It goes into my bathroom. Can hear it echoing. Then it comes out, circles my bed again a few times. Then it leaves out the door it came from. Hear a thump. 2 more tiny growling voices. Sounds like swearing, but not in any language I recognize. Another thud. Some books fall off from the shelf. Suddenly, silence is in the house. Never figured out what it was, but I was scared to death. There were several bricks under my ass when I woke up. 25. Be at my old house a few years back, playing Xbox with a friend. Have headset on talking shit. Friend is on the computer. Hear, I have a friend who likes Satan, in my free ear. I nope into the living room. 26. 12 years old. Bedroom right next to breezeway. Can't sleep one night. Lay in bed thinking of tomorrow. Start thinking about apocalypse, the biblical one. Hear what sounds like shovel being drug across the concrete. Wait until the sound stops. I slept right under a window. I cowered in fear under the window. Finally get the balls to look outside. I lock eyes with red ones. Nope, nope, nope. Run out of room and sleep in living room for a month. Finally moved. Much happier now. 27. Be nurse fag. Getting some extra dough by working some shifts in a nursing home. Working night shift. This home has been broken into by douchebags looking for narcotics twice in the past 2 years. Hanging out at the nursing station doing some charting. I hear the door slam loudly. PSWs, they're like healthcare aides, doing all the bed checks, come out into the hallway as I walk down to investigate what the fuck that was. Heavy locked metal doors, mag-locked and physically locked by myself earlier that night, is ajar. Door leads to a stairwell to the basement and also has a second door leading outside, which is now also open. Tell one of my PSWs to call the cops. I walk down the stairs to the basement like an idiot. I search the entire basement from end to end, Grabbed a hammer out of the maintenance room, by the way. Find no one. Cops showed up like 2 hours later. They lazily look around and find no one. 28. B-15. Finally decide to set up a voicemail box because I had voicemails piling up. I listened to them. The first 3 are some Russian dude threatening to sue me. Second group is a Republican from Tennessee trying to get my state to oppose tax cuts or some shit. I'm not even voting. Then the third was a different one. All it was is 5 whole minutes of static. In that static is the sound of screaming and shouting as if someone's being tortured. Later get voicemail from the same number. Oh shit. I listen to it. It's the fucking Russian guy who wants to sue me. Fuck. I fucking knew it. 29. Be browsing X at 2 a.m. Get a text from my friend. We're talking about God for some reason. The house alarm goes off. It was as if someone opened the back door, maybe broke in. I grab a weapon, check the whole house. I was 17, so I was still living at home with my parents. Mom, sleeping on the couch, is like, what's going on? Check the whole house. All the windows are closed, doors all locked, nothing out of the ordinary. Me and Mom are confused. She goes to check the alarm. It says code 18, so she checks the panel for the code. Code stops at code 17. What? She then asks me if I set the alarm because she didn't. Double what? Dad comes home a few minutes later. Tell him what happened. He says he's never seen code 18 before. Still don't know why the hell that alarm went off that day. Makes me think that something was messing with us. 30. Mom told me this when she was young. She lived in a really scary house growing up. Home alone. She's heard scary stories about the house. A giant hole under her bed that a ghost lives in or some shit. That night she hears something walking down the hallway. She goes and looks. Nothing there. She wants to call her mom. Run downstairs to get the phone. Calls her mother, my grandma Dottie's number. Someone picks up. Hey, is Mom there? A deep raspy voice.
Dottie's not here.
Hangs up. 31. B9, sleeping in my bed. Wake up to vibrating bed. What the fuck? Earthquakes never wake me up. Nothing else is shaking. What the fuck? Feel a hand touch my back through the mattress. I was sleeping on my back. I yell, and the shaking stops. Check online to see if there was an earthquake that would have affected my area, but there was none. I proceeded to shit myself. 32. Nurse fag here. Still creepiest thing that's ever happened to me. Be working in the same nursing home as before. A patient in her mid-90s who was palliative and dying was near the end of her life, but her family wasn't there, as families often aren't at the end of a life, but who knows, maybe they had a bad relationship. Go in to check on her and give her another dose of some medicine. I find her dead. Check her heart with a stethoscope. Nothing. Yup, dead. Close the door to her private room behind me and go to the phone at the nursing station to call her son and the doctor. This is to sign the medical certificate of death. Both say that they're on the way. The patient's room is in view from the nursing station. Go back to the room to make the body more presentable for the family. Close the eyes and jaw before rigor mortis sets in. Remove the ports and such. The door was still closed. Open the door and walk into the room. I see the patient completely repositioned, with her head at the bottom and blankets on the floor. I nope the fuck out of the room. Takes me about 5 minutes to regain composure. I return to the patient's room, put her body back the right way and clean her up. I never told any coworkers, only ever posted it here. My coworkers there always told stories about how the place was haunted and creepy. I didn't need to actually frighten them. They probably wouldn't have believed it anyway. 33. I feel things fairly often. On rare occasions, I see stuff. Not so much in the past 3 years or so. Mostly it's just feeling, though, nothing specific, and I avoid it like the devil. I have, on a few occasions, had dreams that came partially true. What's weird is they don't 100% happen like in the dream, but it's enough that it scares me. The most specific time is when I was about 10. It was Thanksgiving morning, and my mom came in to get clothes, and that's when I told her I had a really vivid dream. I don't normally remember my dreams, and that's when we went to my great aunt's house, only it was a different house, and that my other aunt was in front of the house raking a bunch of leaves, and there was a shit ton of leaves around the place. When we actually did go to my aunt's house, it's not the same house. Turns out she'd moved, and it's the same place I saw in my dream. 34. One more quick one before bed. Be working with dementia patient, late Alzheimer's patient, unable to speak coherently anymore. Had not been able to for the last 2 years or so apparently. Was having a good listen to her lungs as she had a productive cough and had a fever. Notice she's smiling at me. Take off stethoscope. The old woman clearly says, "We're saving a special place for you." Never heard the patient speak. Although I had been working with her for several months, I say, where? In hell. Never spoke another word. Died a few months later. The dementia patients can sometimes be really creepy. You never really know what to expect from them. 35. B22. Asleep in apartment alone. I'm having a nightmare where a little green cloud-looking thing with a face, eye holes, and everything is reaching an arm into my ear and making a crazy crackling noise. Gasp awake, sit straight up and tell it to stop. I begin tearing at it around my ear. I still hear the crackling in the wall. Crackling moves all the way around the room and I hear it hit the window, hopefully leaving. Any ideas on what that green thing could have been? I've seen it before when I was younger, and my parents would just make fun of me, telling me that I was afraid of Slimer from Ghostbusters. 36. Here's my story. Be about 14. One night, brother is watching a video on YouTube. Videos of deformed, mutated babies as the result of radiation poisoning. See it. Innocence gone. Horrified, I try to sleep. Sweating like a madman all night in bed. Positive there's a mutated baby on the floor of my bedroom. Hear sawing noise beneath my bed, or on top of the garage beneath me. Don't sleep for the rest of the night. Although it was all in my imagination, it was still pretty upsetting. 37. I saw the same green smoke entity after gasping for air after having had sleep paralysis. Before waking up, I had an out-of-body experience nightmare where I was watching myself sleep, only to feel its presence. I tried to scare it off by threatening to catch it. I then forced myself to wake up and concentrate my vision where I felt it. It faded away into darkness after I got a good look at it. I have no idea what it was. It didn't make a sound, but I was instinctually afraid of it. 38. B7. Go to the store with Dad at night to get something. Feel something tugging at my back. Turned to see a signboard, sign with the word tit on it. Chuckled and went on with my business. 39. I have a kind of freaky short one. 3 a.m. Talking with a friend on Skype. Grab phone to check messages. See that it's been recording for 11 minutes. Watch from the beginning. Even though it was on a flat surface, the view of it looks like it was intended to record me. Starts getting shaky as if someone was moving it around 6 minutes in, then everything settles down. Eventually get to ending where I pick up the phone and go, "Oh, this thing was recording?" I don't have the phone anymore. This was about 1.5 years ago. 40. On phone with friend. Phone cuts off to weird static sounds and someone talking. What the fuck? Cuts back to my friend, and we're both quiet, like what the hell just happened? Did you hear that? My friend says, yeah, what the hell was that? We both nope, but shrug it off and continue our conversation. Every time I think about it, I always imagine it as a time shift and see a big green field with a woman in the 1800s in a white dress. Don't know why. 41. B12, Holiday House. Has 3 stories, but we can only access 2 of them. The highest one is closed. Nobody lives there. Have a strange feeling about this house. First night, try to sleep, but I can't. Gotta take a piss. Leave my room, walk through the hallway, and go to the bathroom. I pee in the dark, see the bathtub. It looks encrusted with some dark stuff. Geez, what a shitty house. Get out. Next morning, go to the bathroom again. Bathtub is perfectly clean. Still, we have to spend 5 more days there. Next night, it's rainy and we're near the forest. I hear wolves howling, scared shitless. Turn around on the bed and look at the doorway. I've never been more scared in my whole life. Some shadowy small figure is staring at me. I pretend to be asleep. The wolves howl louder. Third night, scared to fuck and I can't sleep. Hear fucking footsteps coming from the highest floor. Hear the sound of something falling onto the ground then being dragged. Holy fuck shit. I want to get out of here. Fourth night, I fall asleep. I wake up in the middle of the hallway. Too scared to move. Literally can't move. Feel someone caressing my hair. Finally I can move. I go to my parents and cry in fear and shame. The next day, we got the fuck out of there. This experience scarred me for life. 42. B13. Go to bed. Hear noises in my room as if someone is walking slowly around. What the fuck? Turn on the light. Nothing's there, yet I still hear the sounds. I turn off the light, shitting myself, thinking of ghosts and demons and so on. I call my mom to come to my room. For some reason, there's no noise. She's about to leave. Suddenly, she stops and looks closely at the floor. The bug is on its back, struggling to get up. My mom picks it up and says it's the source of the noise. I don't hear it again that night. Everything went better than expected. 43. Be at my aunt's house. In the bathroom, looking in the mirror. Wake up hours later in the road. Everything is on the opposite side of the road than it was from yesterday. I've learned to live with it, but I know that I really belong to the world inside the mirror. 44. This is true, kind of freaky, you had to be there kind of thing. It was night. B14. Messing around with friends with new airsoft gun. There was me and 2 friends. We were just basically trying to tackle the guy with the gun. One of my friends has one of the guns. Friend 2 is behind the garage on the opposite end of the yard from me. Friend 1 is in the middle of the yard. Pretty big yard. I decide to run towards the front to District 1. I run out to front and distract him. I get hit a few times and run. I'm running next to someone I thought was friend number 2. I duck behind a bush in the middle of the yard next to number 1. I look over at what I thought was friend number 2. Me and friend 1 stop and stare. It was standing in the corner of the yard. It jumped the fence and dashed off. Me and friend 1 are yelling for the other friend to get back here, but no reply. We say it about 5 more times. We hear some random guy say, "Hey, what are you doing?" coming from the garage. We yell for our other friend again to come out from behind the garage. We explained, and he explains why he didn't reply. He thought that it was a trap. So we went inside. Nothing else really happened that night. 45. Be last Christmas at my aunt's house. My uncle died a few months before this. Sitting by the table by myself with my iPod. Hear someone whistling, "Oh Christmas Tree." Sounded like it came from the other room. I thought nothing of it. Later, my mom comes downstairs because apparently everyone was upstairs. She starts cooking, just me and her downstairs. I hear the whistling again. What the fuck is that? We both look at each other, look in the other room. No one's there. We're convinced it was my uncle. 46. I'm a hardcore skeptic, but I have one thing I can't quite explain. Driving to see Uncle 4 hours away, on the back country road, I see a house in the distance that seems off somehow. Get closer and notice it's gutted out. No windows, doors, and missing some walls. Pull over to look. What the fuck? Why is there furniture in there? Just stare and zone out for what would have been 30 seconds, or 30 minutes. I have no idea. I come to a bit and think, I'm gonna go in there and check it out. Start to open the car door and start wondering, well, what the fuck am I doing? Irrational fear hits me and I speed away terrified. I wouldn't look in the rearview mirror until I was sure it was out of sight. Went an hour out of my way returning so as not to see it again. It still creeps me out, and I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Any ideas? 47. Every nope that I've ever had, I've been able to rationalize it to my own satisfaction. Except for this one. B4. Moved from England to Tennessee. Live in neighborhood that, at the time, was on the back side of a hill, as opposed to the town that was on the front side. Neighborhood surrounded by woods. Maybe about 50 houses arranged in 3-row semicircles. We live in the middle row. B13. Look out the window. See shadowy, shaggy person crouching in the road about 2 houses down. Think it's kind of weird. I tell my dad. He sees it too. We all go to bed. Next day, we see the neighbors outside talking. Dad and I go to talk with them. They all saw it. They saw it too. Every single one for 4 houses on either side of us, plus others in the other rows. All agree that if we see it again, we'll call the cops. 3 months later, 3 neighbors see it and call the cops. Cops find hair, but can't identify it. Eventually, we put up a fence because of it. Now the area is built way up, and there's no more woods, and we haven't seen it since. 48. So my second floor is basically a balcony, and a basement isn't closed in, just some stairs. I'm sitting in the den, playing some GameCube, when all of a sudden I hear some shit going on downstairs. Now I just woke up, so I thought it was my mom. So I start walking downstairs and shit. Then my mom opens the main door, and she calls my name. So I'm weirded out by then, and I look downstairs. I see the door close very slowly. Oh, hell no. 49. I've got a little story about yesterday. Be yesterday. My computer is in a corner of my room. There's a big mirror on the wall to the side of the screen. I enter my room, see the mirror and screen at the same time. The screen is fine, but its reflection in the mirror is flashing. 3 flashes, like turning all white. It stops and goes back to the normal reflection. Was that CGL at the moment? Sit down in computer and chill. It was weird, and now I'm afraid to see my own reflection doing crazy stuff or something. 50. B15. Talking to a friend on the phone. He says something and cuts out. It's all static now. Hear very plainly through the static. There are goblins in my pants? Voice is nothing like my friend's, maybe kinda childish and freaky as fuck. Friend calls back. He denies having said anything. Says line just cut out. And he denies it to this day. 51. Something very familiar happened to me. Except I was 15 and was on the phone to my girlfriend. Apparently I rambled something physics related, which she didn't understand, and the coin which gets you from day to day. 52. So I live in a really holy family, if I may, and they always spread out holy water and stuff on the windows and doors because of dim ghosts. I didn't buy any of it. I move out for great success. Get a nice countryside house with a wife and a dog. Mom said to spread out holy water. Fuck, Mom, this ain't Castlevania. After packing away and storing shit, I go to sleep. I hear a slight wind against the wall of my bedroom. I go outside. Hallway is a long and dark hallway. But in every movie, long, dark, straight ways mean shit hits the fan. Ignored it. Turned around, go back under the covers. Hear, "Come here, Anon," in a deep, demonic-like voice. Well, fuck me silly. 53. I guess I'll give it a try. I have a few of these in my head, but I figure I'll go with the most painful of them. Be 16. Be dating a Wiccan chick. Relationship pretty good. Okay sex. And then she sleeps with her cousin. By marriage or some shit. Nope the hell out of that relationship. Have her pissed as hell at me for being a general bitch. Suddenly mentions a curse in passing. I brush it off. Feeling lonely and ballsy one day, I go to her favorite little clearing in the woods near our high school, and I just kind of sit around, seeing if she'll come by. No noise or anything, so I start to talk aloud to myself in nature, I guess. She used to pray to a goddess or something to protect the clearing when we would hang out there, so I figured I'd give it a shot. Be a Christian fag, so I'm cautious. Random security guard out of nowhere. I know the entire security staff. My dad's the head of it. And this guy isn't on the staff, but he's still wearing the uniform. He tells me to get out, so I comply. I walk towards the exit path, and he walks off in the opposite direction. Walking down the path, a mulched hill, when suddenly I feel a powerful kick in my ass. I fall face first onto the mulched path and think it was the fake security guard. I get up and turn around, and he's a good 70 yards away by now. Look down at my hands, giant gashes on both. Can't tell what caused them, but no pain at all. Suddenly have something shoving at my back, still facing fake guard's direction, and something whispering, "Get out." I shake my head and continue walking away. Wrapped up hands with some duct tape I had in my backpack. I never really mentioned any of this to anyone I knew at the time. No one else was there. This shit continued for a good 6 months until I began yelling at the air when I felt weird vibes, and eventually everything just stopped. 54. B9. Overnight school trip to a museum. Spend all day gawking at all the cool shit. Getting dark. Teachers and parents tell us to go to bed. My class slept in the dinosaur room. One of the animatronic dinosaurs was accidentally left on all night in the dark. I was the only one who couldn't sleep. 55. B13. Playing video games with friend on PC. Feel tired. Start shutting down computer. Friend says he needs to go pee. Shut down computer and turn off lights. Hear something from the kitchen. Call friend's name. Something runs at me. Scream and run for my bedroom. Start laughing uncontrollably, thinking it's my friend scaring me. Yell out, "Very funny." Hear flush of the toilet. Not my friend. 56. Was about 5 years old or so, maybe 6. See these static-like colored red, yellow, green, and black silhouettes that were just walking around but leaving view as soon as I noticed them. I tell my grandma, and she says I'm sick. Talk to mom and present. She tells me I was fine, and my grandma just didn't want to worry me. Still overly curious. Anyone seen anything like this before? 57. Sleeping. Chill as fuck in my bed. My door is always locked. Semi-paranoid. Suddenly wake up to the sound of my door shaking violently against the lock. In as threatening a voice as I can manage. "Hello?" No response. "Hello?" Mom from downstairs. "What? Are you banging on my door?" "I'm downstairs." Grab bat. Open door. No one's there. What the fuck? That feel when I'm in the same room now, freaking out and paranoid as shit. 58. Before I can tell my story, I should explain something. The frame of my bed is made of 2 parts. 2 single bed frames that can be screwed together to form a double bed. In such a configuration, you'll have a leg on each corner and 2 in the middle, on the line that joins the 2 halves of the frame. So to the story. Be sleeping. Wake up to weird noise under my bed, like someone is whispering or silently growling. Goes on for about 10 to 15 seconds. Suddenly the bed collapses. Oh shit. I check under the bed. The metal legs were removed. They weren't even broken. They were properly unscrewed. Scared as fuck to sleep for several weeks after that. 59. Finished showing my dad the Marble Hornets vids up to about episode 30. Well, that was interesting, son. I guess I won't be sleeping tonight. We both laugh. It's 1:30 a.m., so we both go to bed. I get up around 4 o'clock to pee, half awake. I open my door and turn right and face the hallway. The bathroom is at the end of the hallway. End of the hall is pitch black. Flip switches. Fucking lights don't turn on. Fuck it. Walk down hallway to bathroom. Get maybe halfway there, and I can see a faint figure of a man at the end. Panic mode engaged. I freeze, breathing heavily. Hello? I can see its hands move, fingers stretching. Clouds clear, moonlight comes in through a window. I can see it. It's Slender Man. I run faster than I ever have in my entire life, get in my room and lock the door, and then I jump out the window. In car driving to my friend's house. Get call the next day. It's my dad, laughing like he just saw a baboon jerk off on a fat Chinese woman. He's 6'6", and was wearing his black business suit and a red tie, white gloves, and my mother's white pantyhose on his head. He also flipped a breaker for the lights. But anyway, I should have known it was him. He gets up at 5 normally for work. 60. Early start for work, 5 a.m. Have one of those alarms that makes the room get gradually brighter. About 5, the alarm goes off and I sit up. Still dark. That's strange. The bulb must have blown. Skeleton hands me a cup of tea. Thanks, bro. Halfway to work when I remember, and I nearly crashed the car. 61. Playing Battlefield 3 last summer. Don't look at the time and it's nearly 3 a.m. Stop playing. 4chan time. Window is wide open. Suddenly, a wild noise appears outside. Sounds like a shitty creepy creature is grunting outside on the road, with a massive and deep breathing, while dragging some sort of metal object on the ground like an axe or something. I nope. I look directly at the window, then, completely frozen on my chair, I don't even move a finger for at least 20 seconds before thinking of the best idea of my entire life. I fucking run at the window to close it. I didn't look outside because I was too scared. Try to hear if this thing is still there for about 30 minutes. It's gone. And I'm going to sleep now. Waking up next morning with a single but simple question in my head. What the fuck was that? 62. Be 17. 2 to 3 months straight, I get calls from some number I don't recognize. Rarely, if ever, take calls from people I don't know. Always get the same voicemail. 5 to 10 minutes of either someone breathing into the phone or some distorted sound that sounds like a TV. Finally, I got tired of it and looked up the number's area code. Saginaw, Michigan. The fuck? I live in Northern California. Calls stop entirely about a month later. I think I actually tried talking to the person once, and it was some weird-sounding guy or girl who was looking for Ashley, and I had to tell them like 5 times that there was nobody here by that name. Might have just been a tard. 63. 21 years old. Marine Infantry new guy. Parents bought me a Lincoln Town Car. Everyone treats me as designated driver. Too pussy to say anything for fear of roid rage. Drive up to bar. I sit out and can't drink. 0200 comes. Bar closes. Let's go. Everyone piles into my car, awake but drunk. They need to be awake to physically get back on base, make sure they're not dead. We drive through the back gate. 10 plus miles of sand off-roads and old World War II machine gun ranges. Headlights only reach so far. See a hitchhiker. Nope, ride's full. Looks at car. Eyes seem to glow. Everyone awake as we get close. Last minute, turns to look away from the lights. Up the road, back of head is gone. Everyone in the back is looking. Stop car, brake lights picking up nothing. Silent ride back to the gate. Guard says, "Oh, you all look like you've seen a ghost." My face when everyone in the car looks at him. Nothing said rest of ride. My face when I never have to do designated driving again. I guess the urban legends are true. People did die on these ranges. 64. B14, laying down in bed. Hear a twang on my metal desk lamp every single fucking night. Decide to get up and walk up to it. See scratches and a dent. What the fuck? I suddenly turn cold as fuck, and I note back to bed. I see shadows. Hear twanging every night. There's like 4 to 5 dents in it. Still have the lamp. 65. B14. Wake up at 2 p.m. to piss. Blinds are up and have a good view of the dark, dimly lit street. Catch something in the corner of my eye. I do a double take. A guy in a yellow raincoat, yellow hat, and boots walking up the street. Hasn't rained all day. It's midsummer. I can only see him under the streetlight. When he passes out of the dim orange light, he completely disappears. Stops and looks towards my house. I see his face in the streetlight. He has no face. He turns and heads into the neighbor's yard. Oh shit. This happens every once in a while even now. 66. B14 or so, late at night. Woken up by a knock on my door and a male voice asking, "Is it okay if I come in?" Think it's my little brother. Tell him sure. Come in before he wakes up our dad and gets us in trouble. See dark shape of a person walk into my room. Guy starts looking at stuff on my desk and says stuff like, "I just wanted to talk to you. I just wanted to see what was happening. Are you sure it's okay?" I have terrible eyesight in the dark, but I'm waking up and realizing, oh holy shit, this is not my brother. Sit up and tell him, "You need to leave." Shadow turns to look at me and says, "Okay," and then fades out. Shortly after, my dad comes in to investigate who I was talking to. My face when I don't even know what the actual fuck. I'd also see something sitting on my bed and feel someone rub my back and see handprints on my covers from time to time. 67. Be 8 or 9, playing with stuff in my father's shed. I see his drill sitting on his bench. It's not plugged into an outlet. Drill is now in my hands with the cord dangling on the ground. I'm just looking at the drill, being a curious kid. Suddenly, the cord wraps around my right leg. Wraps around my leg about 4 times tightly. Freaked the shit out of my mind, and I had a hard time getting it off. I never really told anyone this. 68. My dad worked as a nurse in a nursing home for pretty much my entire childhood. He worked in the ER when I was a baby, but stopped after a few years. Anyway, he told me this. 3 months prior to this story, he goes into an old lady's room. He checks her vitals and so on. "Hey, how are you doing?" he asks, just being friendly. "Oh, hey. Oh, nothing. My family still hasn't come to visit me, and I'm just stuck here." She had said more, but I'm just shortening it for you. A lot of people there, they just get dropped off and their families rarely visit. I'm so sorry to hear that. She looks up at him then, straight into his eyes. "I swear one day I'm going to walk straight out this door and never looking back." Dad doesn't think anything of it, brushes it off and goes about his day. 3 months later, lady is dying. They try to resuscitate her, but no luck. She dies. Suddenly, screeching alarm goes off. Nurses run out into the hall. The emergency exit door is wide open. They run out. Figured somebody must have slipped out the door. Nobody was there. Check afterwards and nobody is missing. I guess she really did walk out the door in the end. 69. Lying in bed with my GF. She's sleeping. Hear front door of an apartment open. Get up and investigate like the alpha I am. Hallway is pitch black, but I see the outline of a person. Ask them what the hell they think they're doing. They take a step towards me. I pop them in the face. My face when it's the girl from across the hall who wandered in drunk. I still don't lock my front door. 70. Lying in bed with my girlfriend. She sleeps next to the wall. Hear a noise and wake up. Sounds like it's close to the door. Wake up girlfriend. She rolls next to me. I jump over her and lie against the wall. Anything that comes in will have its fill when it's eating her, leaving me free to live another day. Alpha as fuck. 71. Be 6 or 8 years old. On trampoline with my friend. See shadow figure go towards the bushes. The bushes rustle, like my jimmies. Stop bouncing. Ask friend if he saw or heard that. He says he didn't. He says it was a cat. Suddenly get thrown off the trampoline. Friend laughs and says nice. Laugh it off. There was no sleep that night. 72. Multiple times in a cemetery. I used to go pretty often. I would hear people whispering in my ear. It was like really fucking close, and I felt their breath on my ear. Of course, there was fucking no one there but me in that cemetery. I would fucking run away each and every time, yet I always went back for some reason. I have no idea what they were trying to tell me. I was always too scared. 73. Laying in bed one night, back to the closed window, drifting off thinking of random shit. Feel a sharp pain in my ear. It was like a stick being shoved purposefully and accurately right down my ear canal. Spin around and window is wide open. My window doesn't open without 8,000 decibels of noise. Needless to say, I moved my bed away from the window the next day. 74. Be 17. Be on creepypasta at 3 a.m. Be staying at Grandpa's ranch with guest house. Read about a lad who had his finger cut off every time he saw a sheep. Thought, wow, what a dumbass. Turned off my laptop and proceeded to search for jammies. Dresser is right next to a big vertical window. My face when I see a sheep outside the window about 20 feet away. My face when it doesn't move for 20 whole minutes. There was not one single ounce of slumber that night. Every time I see a sheep anywhere, I feel my jimmies being rustled softly. 75. Wake up having to pee. Open my door that leads to the living room. Little girl with eyes and mouth sewn shut in rocking chair. Standing in doorway, terrified. Faces my way. Starts to get out of rocking chair. Guess I'm not going to the bathroom. I close the door and go back to sleep. 76. Meemaw's wake. Everyone crying and shit. My mind doesn't process this concept. First death I've been forced to endure. 12 to 13 years old. Ceremony over. People are mingling. My dad is teasing me. I sit on the couch. Talking about crying. Yeah, whatever. Suddenly I get extremely cold and my muscles tense up. Blacking in and out. Apparently I'm crying and screaming. I don't know why I'm crying. I can't bend my arms. They're extended awkwardly in front of me. Back to being fully conscious. What the fuck, so much. I want to leave. Mega goosebumps on my arms. Hair is raised. My hands are asleep. Shake them till they stop feeling like pins. Nope so hard out the door into the warmth of spring. 77. Few years ago, Christian cousin who is super scared of demons and shit is staying with me. Have 2 copies of a picture of a waterfall. A normal one, and one with cousin's face photoshopped into the waterfall with Satan saying, "You're mine, boy." Have normal one hanging all day first day above the toilet and switch them at 8 p.m. Hear him scream and run out of the bathroom. Quickly go into the bathroom and switch it back to normal and find him. Tells me about picture. Make him show me. He cries when it's not there anymore. I did that shit all week with him, along with other demonic pranks and shit. It was kind of funny. 78. I took guitar lessons for a while, and the instructor would joke about a demon that would haunt you and untune your guitar when you were sleeping. One night, I had laid down on my bed to relax and drifted off to sleep. I wake to a rustling sound, and then I look at my guitar and I see a faint winged figure near it. I shut my eyes, thinking I was just dreaming. I woke up that morning to see that my guitar's strings were all out of tune, and a couple of them were even broken. I stopped going to those lessons. 79. B12. Watching TV on my parents' bed around 8 p.m. After the movie I was watching was finished, one of the Matrix movies, I used the remotes to turn everything off. My parents are downstairs watching another TV or doing whatever. I fall asleep. 9 p.m., get awakened by a voice whispering my name 2 or 3 times. The first might have been faint as I was waking up. Suddenly, I open my eyes wide out of sheer petrifying fear. I go downstairs and ask my parents if they called me. They say no. 80. A few weeks ago, be dreaming, lying in my bed, in the dream, looking at my dark room. Suddenly I hear a voice. The sound is coming from inside my head, and it sounds like an old, wise man. You can really hear how wise and experienced he is in his voice. He says a sort of poem. One day a man from another world arrived. He asked the man to bring him a human, one of every major race. The man did as he was told, and brought him one of each and every race. There were a Caucasian, a black, and an Asian. He then said, "What are the chances for these 3 different men, one from each body of every race, to meet out here today? Calculate that and then rethink the possibilities for life in the universe." In the dream, it seemed to make perfect sense. He abruptly stopped speaking. I hear something coming from the darkness. It's coming from behind my bedstand. Sounds slightly like one of my cats purring, but a lot harder and slower. Clicky, snappy sounds. The sound goes on for about 5 to 6 seconds. I snap open my eyes, wide awake. All I have in my mind is the poem and the sound. My room looks completely the same as it did in the dream. Every shadow is the same. I reach for the light switch as soon as I realize that there still may be something just behind my bedstand. The light slowly shows my empty room, warming up the lights. Nothing's there. Lying awake, stale and not sure what to do. Keep repeating the poem in my mind. Write it down so that I will remember it. Not like I'm going to sleep anyway. Also, my cats weren't in the house at the time, and the poem didn't appear as much in words as in meanings of the words. 81. Living in an apartment, chilling one night in my room. All of a sudden, my upstairs neighbors start a really big fight. I can hear loud screams and door bangs mostly. Seems to be a young mother and her daughter arguing fiercely. I go ask my parents who the fuck lives upstairs. Just an old couple. Some really weird shit starts happening upstairs. A couple times, it sounds like someone is digging in the dirt with a shovel. First time I heard that, I thought I was going mad. 82. Maybe someone can help me understand this dream that I had that has stuck with me the last couple of months. In the dream, it was me, my cousin, and my friend outside of a bunker during the day about to break and enter. No one else was there in the whole base, completely deserted. So we're talking and mapping out what we were going to do when a tall man walks up and starts taking pictures of us. The creepy-looking guy in a dirty fishing outfit, we all look at him like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And he snaps some pictures of us and walks away. It was like he was trolling my dream. The only thing I remember after that was running up to the bunker and waking up. Here's the fucking weird part. That very morning, I'm driving to an interview in a town I've never been in. I'm using my GPS, and I'm traveling down some main road through a farm town. I pass a small pond, and the same guy, same outfit, same look, same height, minus a few details, is staring at me as I drive by. Creeped out, I speed up, staring straight ahead and not looking back. I know I haven't seen this guy before, So how can I picture someone I've never met? 83. Be 7 or 8. Be eating sausages while watching TV. 2 creepy Chinese doll twins on top of the TV. Both eyes are staring forward at me. I look away, and then I look back, and the eyes are looking to the left or right. Look away again, and look back. Eyes are facing the other way now. Do this about 10 times. This is actually happening. Cry and tell my mom. She puts them on top of the kitchen shelf so I can't see them anymore. Still to this day, I have no idea what the hell was making their eyes move. I'm pretty sure that they were made of wood. 84. I was in my grandma's house, just watching TV like the little innocent 11-year-old I was. I was already kind of nervous being home alone, but whatever. Out of nowhere, the TV changes a channel, then again, and again. It just kept a steady rhythm of going up in channels. Start semi-freaking out, but then I just thought that I must be laying on the remote. Then I really started shitting the wretched bricks when I stood up off the bed, and the TV kept doing it. After standing there motionless, I conjured up the courage to switch the channel myself, and after that it just stopped. Since then, I haven't experienced anything like it before. I was scared absolutely shitless. 85. Used to go camping on this island on a river that nobody else really knew about. Went with my dad, a couple of my uncles, and my cousins. On the second night when I was about 11, everybody else had gone to bed and I was sitting alone beside the fire. I saw glinting in the distance at the top of a hill. 2 spots like eyes above lines like on a reflective vest. I noped out and went to sleep. First thing the next morning I went to investigate. I found a canoe, still wet, at the top of the hill, maybe 20 meters above sea level. No drag marks. It had a life jacket with reflective patterns like I'd seen the night before. There was also some fresh food, a bottle of water, a pair of shoes, and a paddle. I'm weirded the fuck out and head back to camp. I turn around. There was a skinned fox nailed to a tree I'd walked past. I nope out, ran back to camp, never mentioned it to anyone else. I didn't sleep the rest of the time I was there because I thought I would get murdered in my sleep. 86. Be 14. Be living in Arizona. About 7 in the evening in late October. Be watching TV on the floor. Mom and her best friend are sitting on the couch, being chatty Cathys. Front door wide open about 6 feet from where I'm sitting. See clearly in my peripheral a tall man step into the doorway. He leans a hand on the frame, reaches inside and closes our door quickly. I flip the fuck out and nope, and then I scramble backwards into the wall behind the couch I was sitting beside. My mom and her best friend laugh and look at me like I'm nuts. My mom says, "Oh, it's windy as hell out there. It's just the wind." I shout that there was a man. The friend says, "I was facing the door. It was the wind." I point out that our door is extremely heavy and large, made of heavy oak, and yet it didn't slam. Everybody gets real quiet and stares at the door for a minute. I catch my breath and look outside. My sisters are playing nearby with a hose, but hadn't come close or we would have seen them in the window. Ask them if they saw a man. They say they didn't. I get chills and go back inside. We dismissed it as unexplained and figured it didn't matter. He'd only closed our door after all. Later, our window broke from that door slamming, so the fact that our window didn't shake was another testament to the fact that someone had closed that door. I was more startled than scared, but I was creeped out nonetheless. And for those who are curious, he was a bit taller than 6'3", very blonde with loose cropped hair, wearing light-colored jean shorts with white sneakers and a silvery white t-shirt. I hadn't seen him long enough or been able to look directly at him, but I was startled enough to remember what I'd seen. 87. Be about 13. Mom frequently gone from Friday morning to Sunday night. Not a big deal. Laying in bed facing the wall, back to the door. Hear footsteps coming down the hall. My room is the only room on that end of the house. They get louder, then they stop. I hear whispering, very quiet but clear, just not in a language I recognize. They're talking in that tone that parents use when they think their kids can't hear them in the next room over. I try to sound all brave, without wetting the bed, and I tell them to leave. Whispering stops suddenly. Then after a moment, the footsteps begin to leave. Have two friends sleeping over. Go into bedroom to retrieve playing cards. One friend came with. Close the door, turn off the light. Mom had bitched at me in front of them about electricity. Play cards for about 30 minutes. Friend mentions being kind of creeped, and we feel like we're being watched. So I look up behind her. My door is cracked and the light is on. All three of us nope all the way out to one of their houses instead. Same house. Frequent clawing sound out of the spare bedroom closet. Discovered it's coming from vents which lead beneath the home. No rodents, nothing's down there. Sometimes we see shadowed figures under street lamps. No neighbors for miles. I've got an older pet dog, maybe 10 years old or so, that had always been a chill indoor dog. She was very skittish around the house, and she preferred being in the yard to being inside the home. Occasionally, really thick fog in the backyard, which is surrounded by trees. Realized later that this could just be that it's at an incline and gathers moisture or some other sciencey shit, but it's still creepy. 88. Lucid dreaming. I'm in my house. Intense feeling of dread and paranoia. Nothing outside of my house except for a black void. As I move through my house, so my feelings of both dread and lucidity increase. Walk into my room. Guts are hanging on the wall, teeth all over the floor, the body of a naked dying Jesus Christ on my bed. He just stares at me. His eyes followed me around as I walked around the room. Decide fuck this shit and I wake myself up. I get out of bed after a few moments. Everything feels normal. As I get to the kitchen, that low rumble you hear when sleep paralysis starts sounding out in my head. Look on the table, etched into the surface, in our Lord we trust. Notice something in the mirror. Naked dying Jesus Christ stood behind me. Puts his hand on my shoulder and just stares. Wake up for real this time, completely drenched in sweat. I spent the rest of the week at my friend's house, by far the scariest experience of my life. 89. Be fit, running on treadmill. It's 10:30. I got off work and wanted to do a quick run. It's one of those 24-hour fitness centers. Me and one other person, a man in his 40s. He's on the elliptical. I see him get his bag and then walk out. I'm nice and I said later to him. He waves. I'm all alone now. 11 o'clock rolls around. I hear machines behind me being used. Pay no attention. Noises behind me. I glance at the wall mirror. I notice medicine balls rolling towards the wall. It hits the wall and then bounces and rolls to a stop. Strange. Now it's 11:10 or so. Getting ready to leave, the medicine ball rolls past me. I'm alone. The only person here is the owner in an upstairs office. I nope out of there. Only experience I've had there. I still go. I spoke with the owner one day about the creepy stuff. He says he knows, and he's seen a shadow person himself. The building is 80 years old. Not sure what was there before it. Turns out I'm not the only person that had an experience there. 90. Head over to Buddy's house after work on a Friday for the weekend. His family is gone, and he doesn't want to be alone in the house. It's 3 floors with no basement, kind of old, high creepiness potential. The guest bathroom connects to the guest bedroom on the bottom floor. We are on the 2nd floor playing video games like the shut-ins we are, and I pause to take a piss. Don't turn on bedroom light. Leave bathroom door open, 'cause 0 chance anyone's walking in. I take a piss. I glance at the mirror next to the toilet that points back to the bedroom. Waist-high shadow girl standing there. Then the door quickly and silently closes. Doors are not this silent. I shit a brick, and I yell for my bro to turn on the room light before I leave the bathroom and nope out of there. We stayed at my place that weekend. I've seen that girl 3 times before in 2 other places. My place and his old place, and always while he's in the house, too. 91. Be 16 years old. Just dropped out of high school and pretty much stayed in my room 24/7 being depressed. Mom tells me that she saw a strange dark shadow in front of my door. End up being tormented by something that causes me to wake up screaming nearly every night. That happened for a few months. I'd wake up and see that all my lights were just turned off, or the battery on my phone would be completely dead just after being charged. It was a brand new battery, too. Alone in the basement making a sandwich, cat starts hissing towards the backyard window. Then the cat runs off. I go and sit at the table which is in front of the window. I hear 4 loud knocks on both the back and front windows in the basement. I nope, but fuck that house and fuck whatever was fucking around with me. 92. Walked past the old church in the winter. It was dark, and street lamps were pretty far away from each other. Suddenly, I hear a lot of commotion and yelling and shuffling of feet, the sound of running and heavy breathing. I look back, but I see nothing. I get hit on the shoulder heavily and knocked down. I still see nothing around. I hear a male voice yelling sorry. The sound of running slowly fades. Confused as fuck, I get up and start walking home without further incident. To this day, I don't know what the fuck happened. I tried to find out about the area's history, but the only thing I could find, and besides knew already, was that the whole town had been the site of a large medieval battle, a peasants' uprising. The knights all massacred them. 93. Be 14. Be at cabin with a bunch of family at the lake. Cabin kind of has a basement where the room I slept in is located. Can't shake this horrible feeling every time I'm down there. Wake up one morning kind of confused, still really early and it's dark outside. I hear voices outside of the room, as well as stuff being moved around, someone setting up the pool table or dragging chairs. Figure everyone is awake already. I open the door. No one there. The basement is pitch black. Nope. Hear what sounds like my niece crying in the corner down the hall. Quickly, I stick to the light and move down there to check on her. Realize I'm not the only one there. I run upstairs and sit with my back to the wall, terrified. The sun finally starts coming up. Everyone shows back up. They had all apparently gone to get coffee and donuts. 94. Sitting in old computer room. It used to be my dad's office. Phone on the windowsill. It's not plugged into the phone line anymore. It suddenly rings. I jump. I pick it up. Nothing. I still have no idea what the fuck was even happening. How is this even possible? 95. I swear I've just been going crazy seeing shit all over the place. I closed my back door and saw something gray scurry under the table. It was maybe 3 feet tall, but nothing was there. Be walking in the store, see a shadowy figure to my right, and I freak out my mom. Random shit falls off of shelves that are secured. Also see shadow figures outside my bathroom door all the time. 96. Exploring Lundy's Lane graveyard in Niagara Falls, Ontario last summer. Suddenly, come across some soldiers' graves from the First World War. Never been much for patriotism, but considering the Navy as it means good work and lots of travel. See a few gravestones that are ill-tended, and I read them. Suddenly a feeling of a need to salute. I do so, and suddenly eyes are filled with tears. I hear someone whisper, "Thank you. We just want to be remembered." Nobody is around except for my girlfriend, who is incapable of such a masculine voice. That feel, man. 97. Be 14. On holiday with my family. My parents and my 4 brothers. The hotel has rooms that include an upstairs section that you get through very steep stairs. 3 brothers are up there while me, my parents, and my sister are below. We can clearly see if anything goes on up there. Wake up in the middle of the night. Very cold. Hear whispering from upstairs. Turn around. See window wide open. Go over and close window. When I do, I hear a moan from the upstairs section. I turn around and look up. I see a shadowed figure. It was tall, strangely shaped, although human-like, and its head was slightly larger. Thinking it was one of my brothers, I walk back into the bedroom, laughing. I ask who it was the next day. All have no idea what I'm even talking about. Shadowed figure at least made me laugh and sleep easy. 98. Work in a little company in an old building. The toilet is strange. Sometimes you can hear someone in the toilet stall even though no one is there. Sitting in the stall, I hear someone walk in the toilet. When finished, I come out and no one's there. Crazy tiles that have this strange pattern of dots that make it look like there's something written on them, but it vanishes back to dots if you look too closely. I'm thinking to myself, great haunted toilet. One night I'm pissing in a stall when suddenly the door opens a bit. Lights go out and then the door swings open and bangs on the wall. Me getting mentally ready to punch that ghost in the face or die. I get my arms up in fighting position while still pissing. There's no one in the doorway. Look back. Ah, damn, pissed on the whole wall of the toilet. Fucking ghosts. 99. Kind of long, but worth it. Bored with 4 friends. Me, Victor, Toby, Hunter, and Hunter's sister Vanna. Victor says his grandparents' old house is supposedly haunted. House was built in the late 1800s. 6 families have since lived there. 2 people have committed suicide in the house. Bullet holes in walls and ceiling. We go up there that night with 3 flashlights and a shitty tape recorder. About 20 minutes into it, my flashlight goes out. I had driven, so we piled into my car and went to Walmart for another flashlight. Left house at around 11:30 p.m. Returned around 12:45 a.m. We had left the recorder there to see if it heard anything. We listened back to it, and we can clearly hear footsteps, breathing, and a scream, and mine and Victor's names. We nope the fuck out of there. Me and Victor go back a few weeks later, but doors have been bolted and locked. We didn't lock the doors. We go through a window and hear footsteps upstairs. Haven't been back since. 100. B12. Babysitting my little brother alone. The sun is rising. Open up blinds. Old man is staring in my window. I jump. I nope and close the windows and lock everything. Happened more than once. 101. B13. My cousin lives with us. He's a night person. He lives in the basement. When I hear noise like shit falling and playing piano, it's him. We live in the Netherlands, close to Amsterdam, so he goes there often. One night, trying to sleep, hears something falling from his basement. Sounded like his keyboard. Hear a hard knock on my door. Assume it's him. Wake up at about 9 in the morning. 20 minutes later, he comes home from Amsterdam. He says he's been there all night. He was complaining about all his shit in his room being messed up and thrown everywhere. Even his keyboard was broken. He always locks his room, and our family has no reserve keys. He didn't sleep for 4 to 5 weeks after that. 102. Be in bed reading with my new kitten. The kitten suddenly wakes up, extremely alert, and starts growling and hissing. I just think it's her being strange, and she's not quite used to the house yet anyway. I calm her down enough to where she goes back to sleep. An hour or so later, she does the same thing. The phone rings not even a second later. Unknown number. Not uncommon, as I got a new phone and couldn't transfer numbers. I answer it. I hear nothing for a few moments but static, and then a deep voice that sounds muffled. I think it's a butt dial and end the call. The kitten is on edge now, hackles raised. My roommate comes in, saying that they have a phone call for me. They asked for me, but the roommate didn't know who it was. So I take it. The same deep, muffled voice. I nope back to bed after blocking the number on both the phones.